There's an old adage that says if there's no enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside cannot harm us. And this saying is so present in our reality that I had to mention it today because recently another rapper was killed who goes by the name of Get Money Lil Ronnie and his daughter Armani. Okay, Get Money Lil Ronnie was 30 years old and his daughter was 5 years old when they were shot and killed at a Texas car wash. Okay, the car wash is known as Slappy's Car Wash. But around 11 a.m., police officers responded to a report of gunshots. When they arrived, they found Get Money Lil Ronnie and his daughter afflicted with gunshots. The most troubling part about this situation is that his daughter was caught in the crossfire, right? But it's also something that is very common. Unfortunately, it's something that's very common in the black community, okay? Because last week in the Bahamas, a man and his child were in the vehicle. I think he was also his daughter, and he was shot and killed, right? But his daughter miraculously was not harmed. You know, he had a young daughter who survived this onslaught of gunshots. There were three different shooters, and the shooters took time to shoot him from different angles, from the back of the car, from the side of the car, from the front of the car. But miraculously, his daughter was not killed. And the thing is, in the black community, we really need to acknowledge that we are at least as much of an enemy to ourselves as other races and other hate groups are to us. You know, the relationship that we have with each other is at a perilously low estate. Um, it is becoming too common to hear that black people are killing each other. Now, family, I really think we need to take a look in the mirror and actually acknowledge the kind of people that we are today, right? In our great grandparents' generation, and even some of our grandparents' generation, they didn't have what is known as an op, right? They didn't have ops and they didn't have a gang, right? But here in 2025, when humanity is supposed to be the most advanced that it's ever been, we have the presence of a certain subculture that is killing the young and the old, right? And we need to try to understand why this is happening. This is what my takeaway is from all of this. It must have been really good for the previous generations to not have enemies in their own neighborhood, right? When they approached other black people, they didn't have to worry about the black person being brainwashed with a certain ideology that causes them or allows them to hate another black person, you know. And in the 48 laws of power, one of the particular laws states that when your enemy is making a mistake, you should not intervene, right? And there's no surprise that while the black race is self destructing and killing each other people are largely silent about it. The only time they mention the reprobate behavior that is um, like a cancer on the black community is when persons are holding them accountable for doing something to us, right? But we can see that the dominant culture in America is actually monetizing the slaughter of black people because record executives, music industry executives are putting money and investment, technology behind the music that is instilling our people and the young generation with a hateful mindset, and they are also ensuring that there are illicit weapons readily available in our communities, right? And we need to really wake up from this psychosis that we're going through. Self-hatred is not just something that conscious people talk about. It's not something abstract. Self-hatred is actually something that is a present danger in the Black community. This is what I really wanted to talk about in this short video. Self-hatred is a real thing. The consequences of self-hatred are death and destruction. Okay. When the KKK killed a Black person, burnt a cross on their lawn, tarred and feathered an individual, lynched an individual, this was a clear indication of the hateful mindset that white supremacists actually live with, right? And I believe that a white supremacist in the KKK is no different from a Black person in our community who was indoctrinated with an ideology that some Black people are his opposition and some Black people are his affiliation or his affiliates, right? And this is not just in the realm of gangs in our community or organized crime. Even at the highest levels in the Black community, people with PhDs, you will find that there is the presence of adversarial thinking and malice towards other Black people. There is jealousy, there is envy, there is betrayal in our community at the highest levels. And, I think this is a reflection of a certain mindset that really needs to be done away with, because the consequences of us continuing to have self-hatred for one more day literally means that some of us have to die. Some of us will be killed by one of our own people who loves his own oppressor more than he loves his brother, who loves his own oppressor more than he loves his sister, who loves his own oppressor more than he loves a person who was of a common ancestry with him, with her. Okay, and so when I look at the situation with Get Money Lil Ronnie and his daughter, firstly, I would like to say rest in peace to the brother, rest in peace to his daughter. It's unfortunate that this is happening, but it's not only happening in America. This culture has been exported all around the world until now, even on the continent of Africa, where our heritage exists, where our family originated from, where we have an ancient past. You have people who have been affected by the gangs and ops mentality. And even in Africa, they are representing Chicago gangs. There are persons in Africa who are saying that they are BDs. There are persons in Africa who are saying they are GDs. There are persons in the Bahamas who are saying they smoking on their ops. There are persons in Jamaica who say they smoking on their ops and seeking retaliation. This is a sickness, and it's really a silly mindset that should not exist in our community. But we need to ask ourselves, why are we still victims of Willie Lynch psychology? Okay, we know that Willie Lynch developed a strategy based on his observation of the Black community. Willie Lynch identified that we have these narratives going on in groups of Black people where there is a competition for supremacy, where there is, I guess, a lot of adversarial thinking based on the subtle differences among us. And so what Willie Lynch did was he decided to pit different categories of slaves against one another. So he put the male slaves to compete against the female slaves on the plantation. He put the light skinned individuals versus the dark skinned. All right. He put the light skinned in the house to wash the dishes. He put the dark skinned outside to pick the cotton. And he realized that as long as he exploited these dynamics, we would have a hard time galvanizing any sort of rebellion or movement for our fundamental freedoms. Okay, because we're so busy hating on each other, thinking maliciously. Some feel superior, some feel inferior because of the relationship that we have with the oppressor. Some feel superior because of white adjacency. They feel like, hey, white people are comfortable with me. This must mean I'm a good person. There's so many dynamics going on in the Black community. And family, we need to figure out which one of these dynamics is the cause for all this bloodshed because it's going on too much. And, I've been fed up with this. I've been tired of this for maybe 20 years. Um, Actually, I've been tired of this since I was conscious of this situation. But now, even more so today, it is still a challenge. And I think we need to get over this. More death, more destruction will come as long as we continue to act as an enemy within our own village.